Muy buenas tardes y bienvenidos de nuevo al escenario del Pabellón España, este espacio que tenemos reservado, ya lo sabéis, para la actualidad tecnológica en nuestro país. Vamos a continuar con nuestra programación que, como ya os comenté, es incesante durante estos días. La siguiente presentación viene de mano del Ministerio de Ciencia, Innovación y Universidades y el título es La revolución de la ciencia y la tecnología en España, impulsando soluciones disruptivas para un futuro sostenible. Sin más demora, le voy a ceder la palabra a Juan Cruz Cigudosa, secretario de Estado de Ciencia, Innovación y Universidades, para que introduzca la sesión y a los integrantes de la mesa. Cuando quiera.
Thank you. I will take this presentation in English because we are aiming to something that is go beyond Spain. Okay? So I think the message is clear. The Mobile World Congress is probably one of the most important showcases in technology and science in the world. But it's important to notice that behind every single showcase that we are seeing here, there is science. Science is not technology, okay? And I think every technology that we are using here today and seeing today here has been born from years and years of deep knowledge and scientific exploration. Spain is undergoing a critical and major transformation in its science and technology ecosystems. We are actually investing in cutting-edge research that are actually generating very good disruptive solutions that actually are improving people's life and supporting planet sustainability. And we are doing this with a global collaborative vision with the firm belief that science must be the driving force of this revolution. Guided by the Draghi Report and European agenda increasingly shaped by technology, today we want to highlight three transformative initiatives that combine scientific excellence and technology transfer to create disruptive innovations in biotechnology, Terafront Pharmatech, in fusion energy, Dones, and in neurotechnology, Spain Neurotech. These are just a few examples of how Spain is leveraging deep science to develop critical technologies that actually will enhance our competitiveness and contribute to Europe's strategic autonomy. Joining us today, we have Eva Ortega, Secretary General of Research, to talk about the aim and the future of Spain Neurotech, Miguel Mulet, CEO of Terafront, and Carlos Hidalgo, who is Deputy Director General of the National Fusion Laboratory at CIEMAT, that will explain us something about Dones. So I'm going to start with the questions. We all know that deep technologies originate in scientific ecosystems, but the real challenge is turn this science into real-world solutions that may have something that we can touch, some impact on people's life. Each of you actually represents one of the best of Spain that is leading this transformation. I will ask you for each of your initiatives a few words about what is unique. Eva, for instance, what set Spain Neurotech apart from other things, and how that will contribute to address chronic diseases like Parkinson or Alzheimer?
First of all, I would like to say thank you to the organizers to giving me the opportunity to come here and just explain one of our top projects within the country, because it's really a unique approach, because it brings together the two words, the cutting edge of technological innovation together with neurology research. This project is a multidisciplinary collaboration between different stakeholders from different areas, such as neuroscience, artificial intelligence, biomedical engineering, and of course computer science. For what? Just to develop personalized solutions. It's just based on two keywords, that is precision diagnostics and personalized medicine. And this means that we are going through Spain Neurotech to play a key role in the development of these technological solutions to address diseases, as you mentioned, Parkinson, Alzheimer, or even depression, and how using our knowledge, basic knowledge in science, together with artificial intelligence, through what? We have different ways to achieve this goal. One would be the integration of artificial intelligence and the state-of-the-art neuroimaging techniques. The artificial intelligence will allow us to analyze large volumes of data that could identify patterns for difficult professional assessments. The second one would be not only for diagnosis, as I mentioned, but also non-invasive brain stimulation techniques. And this would be exactly what I meant about personalized medicine. Also, minimizing the effects of other treatments and other diagnoses, which is especially important for chronic diseases. And of course, the third will be using artificial intelligence to the design of new molecules that will allow us, and we will head to different and new treatments. And this advanced stimulation and predictive modeling will contribute, of course, to the potential of new therapies that will set Spain in the top of the state-of-the-art research and, of course, design of new compounds for curing or treating different diseases. So I think that Spain Neurotech will integrate these latest innovations in artificial intelligence and neurology to give advanced solutions in all these diseases that you mentioned before.
Thank you, Miguel. Terrafront aims to accelerate what is going on in the world of in the ecosystem of advanced therapies. My question is, what do you think, or why do you think these kind of therapies are changing the world, and what is the role of that can play Terrafront on it?
So the advanced therapies that we're working with are different in several aspects with respect to other traditional therapies. One of them is that they hold the promise of a radical change in the way in which patients are treated and the possibility of a cure, both in terms of cancer, also in regenerative medicine. So these are the effects that we expect from them, or the efficacy that we expect from them is outside of the scope of other more traditional modalities. So the promise is large. And most of these therapies have been developed in the academic domain. So they have, because of these two factors, they have been able to progress into the clinic very quickly. But in doing so, patients are being treated, but the enabling technologies that make them possible to generalize them as products are lagging behind. So one of the key challenges in the area of advanced therapies is being able to industrialize these approaches that are have a strong scientific basis, but they have to work all the time as a product that is an industrial product, and that is where Terrafront is aiming to cover that gap and take these treatments to the clinic and then eventually to the market.
That's an amazing challenge.
It's an amazing challenge.
Thank you, Carlos. Also, a few words on what does fusion energy mean for a Europe clean energy world or clean energy continent, and what is the role that is expected to play IFMIZONES in it?
Well, also thank you very much for this kind invitation. First of all, I would like to say that fusion energy is an innovative solution that is based only on knowledge, science, and technology. And I think this is important to keep in mind because it means that only countries like Spain that is putting emphasis in research and innovation will play a role in the future, that is not tomorrow, in the future of this very transformative and innovative energy source. And this makes a great difference when we compare nuclear fusion with other energy sources. Oil, gas is distributed in a random way. You get it by random reasons. In fusion knowledge, no. Yeah. You will get only if you have the knowledge in the science and technology. And also, as you mentioned, science and technology are strongly connected. Science is the source of technology. and technology is the source of new science. So this is the first point when we talk about Europe.
Yeah.
And Europe is very worried that we want to keep our leadership in knowledge and technology. The second point is that we are now in a very fascinating period where we know that neither public research centers that we have the knowledge today, nor private industries acting alone will be able to accelerate this fusion energy for society. So we need a cooperation between both.
Yeah.
There is no other solution. And we are right now in a transition phase in Europe, and I think also Spain, we should look very carefully how to organize and optimize this needed collaboration between public research and industries. And last but not least, I think that in Spain, we can feel very, very proud because we have a very competitive fusion ecosystem, including public research centers, including industries that are leading the number of contracts in big contracts like ITER and so on. And in this fusion ecosystem in Spain, of course, as you mentioned, if Niptones is going to be a very key player.
I will ask for you a little bit earlier about that. So the question is, Spain is a global leader in science productions. However, we are not even Europe, is such a leadership on innovation. So there is this gap from science to market technology. Miguel, for instance, in your field, to scale up this industry is, facing many challenges. And do you think Spain is better prepared for facing this challenge of industrial transformation of this field, or what do you feel about it? So remember that this is seen all over Europe.
Yeah. So I think we have the elements, we have to connect them. We have to connect the points. We have an extraordinary capacity to do clinical development.
Yep.
In fact, the ecosystem of clinical centers has been able to push through an amazing number of advanced therapies into the clinic, and some of them are already reaching the patients with use authorizations, and that is something that is admirable. We have a science base that is able to produce new intellectual property, and we actually have some examples of companies that are succeeding in providing viral vectors, of providing actually advanced therapies already, and but they have been disconnected efforts in a way. So I think what Terrafront has the opportunity to do is to be a traction device that connects the different elements and can bring these therapies forward by making the most of what we already have and strengthen it.
Okay, thank you. So it's again a good challenge. Eva, tell us something about, we have all fascinated by brain projects and everything, which are actually the current frontiers in technology. What do you foresee about?
Well, I think we have a very long way just to, it's a fascinating future. I think there's no boundaries for science and neurotechnology because it's evolving in a decent pace, opening up new frontiers that will transform all the sectors such as medicine, education, mental health, which is something really important nowadays, and of course accessibility. Among these promising frontiers of neurotechnology, I would like to highlight several key areas. Brain-computer interfaces. I think these technologies will allow people to control devices, as I was doing just before, with our brains. In this case, I was doing with our hands, but quite not very far. I think it's not a long way. We will be able just to connect our brains, opening up great opportunities, for example, for rehabilitation of patients with motor disabilities, just an example. Or also a way to interacting with new technologies. We have another one that would be non-invasive brain stimulation, as I mentioned before. For example, this transcranial magnetic stimulation that will have the potential to treat neurological and psychiatric disorders. such as, for example, there's a big problem now with depression that we have, all of us, friends, colleagues that are suffering from the depression, and also, for example, Alzheimer's diseases. Since we are aging and we live longer, we find out that we have more people that are affected by these diseases. And of course, this method will allow us to give a treatment that is less invasive than other treatments that we know. And of course, also artificial intelligence that will be applied, as I mentioned before, to neuroscience, to analyze the huge volume of data that will enable an early diagnosis and this precision diagnosis, and also will provide personalized treatment to the people that are suffering.
That's enough.
To these diseases. So there are several, there's many others, but of course we will give emphasis to those diseases. Thank you.
Carlos, ¿se me escucha? Am I heard? Yeah. So Carlos, Spain has secured Ifnitones as an international project. Why? Why Spain has been the chosen one? What is different in Spain for that?
Well, I think maybe to give you an answer, first we have to remember what are the gaps, the technological gaps that must be solved to have a fusion reactor, to have fusion energy for society.
Okay.
The first gap is that we have to validate materials under fast neutron irradiation that we will have in a fusion reactor. And if Ifnitones is going to solve this key challenge. The second gap is that we need to validate how to produce tritium inside a reactor, because tritium is the fuel of a nuclear reactor. And Ifnitones as well will play a leading role to validate the basic models of what we call breathing blanket, tritium technology. And there is one more challenge, that is to validate materials under extremely high heat fluxes. And we have in our fusion ecosystem research lab, public research labs that can also address this gap. So we have three gaps to have a fusion reactor, and Spain, because our very active and excellent ecosystem, we are in the position to move forward, because we are ambitious in our community. And we have, and I think the Spanish government have the long-term vision to put our market in the business market that will be in our hands, not tomorrow, in the coming years. So I think having Ifnitones is going to be a key element to promote the future of a new energy in Spain. And in this direction, I think there is one more magic concept, is knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer is needed between public and private bodies. Knowledge transfer must be bidirectional, from fusion, that today is a driving force of innovation, but also from other technologies, hydrogen, fission, solar, towards fusion. And I think in this perspective, in the area of knowledge transfer, also Ifnitones is going to play a very important role.
Thank you. Just for the last round of questions, very briefly, we are speaking here that Spain is becoming a global leader in certain areas. Because, all this mobile congress is about technology that is already in our hands, literally. We are speaking here about the future. So thinking about that, projecting your views in several years, which are the biggest challenges that we are facing as a whole? For instance, Eva, you have spoken about technology, but do we have the landmark of Europe in terms of ethical? So what is Europe has to say about ethical research in that?
I think that it is really important to consider all ethical challenges, particularly those that particularly refers to privacy, consent, fairness, and fairness of access. So we have in front of us a huge challenge, and of course Europe has to be sure that we ensure the safe and the ethical development of the neurotechnology. in the different areas. For example, this clear regulatory framework, we could be leaders, and indeed we are in many ways. Also, the creation of neuro rights. We have to preserve not only the consent, but also the autonomy, and be sure that every individual is equal and has preserved their dignity as well. And also, of course, during all these ensuring these ethical values, Europe has to work together with ethical committees. We have to put in common all our legal frameworks and find the best way that will ensure that each individual has the same rights and is included in the same way. So I think we have a lot to look forward and to work on. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Carlos, fusion energy is a global race. It's just something that, as a humanity, probably we have to face. But it's a race that is based on science and technology, clearly. In a future energy landscape, how would you foresee Spain and Europe?
Well, I think if we talk about the future, I would like to emphasize what I think is one of the important gaps, the human factor. We need a new generation of scientists, we need a new generation of engineers to address this revolution. And so we need to stimulate a new people in all these challenges, so that they must see science and technology with a perspective of a fantastic landscape for their curriculum and life.
Okay.
We need this human factor because all our dreams about technology of science will not move as fast as we wish if we don't have this human factor. So at the end, as you mentioned, fusion is a global challenge where we need a sustained energy policy as we are doing now in Spain, but also we need to harmonize, to synchronize education, innovation and research. And in this resonance, the human factor is very crucial.
So we should finish just one message for you.
I think the challenge that we have is one of innovation. In the case of advanced therapies. And that is why in the particular case of Terrafront, where we're bringing private initiative to add that extra factor of how to make actual products that go into the market, we have an edge over maybe other places where the emphasis is more perhaps academic with what we're trying to do with Terrafront.
So still facing the gap.
We're facing the gap, but we have the means to solve it.
Well, we are finishing here. We are on time, right on time. So we have just seen a glimpse of what is going on in the Spain's scientific potential, from neurotechnology to advanced therapies to clean energy. Our ambition is to position Spain as a leader in those fields. And I think that is a good possibility that we are here today talking about the future, but the future, real future, because this is already the present. And actually, I think following the track that mobile has Spain as probably one of the hubs that's in the science and technology in the digital world. We have here other technologies that are not digital but just digitalization for future and to provide to better improve the life of the people. That was science is for here. So thank you very much, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Muy bien.